the weather, they have a wet season and a dry season. Everybody hears about that. And the wet season is wet. And they also have like a typhoon season. The wet season's wet. That's a really good line. But it is so, like, it just, you're walking and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, look, it's dark clouds. And then they're over you and it just dumps. Like, you've never seen that kind of rain in Utah ever. And it's just like, you can't possibly stay dry. You're like huddled underneath your umbrella and the wind's blowing sometimes and you're just soaked. And they wear like Crocs in the puddles because otherwise your feet just get disgusting in normal shoes. And then the dry season's really hot. I prefer wet season, but the wet season will also be like hot in like the beginning of the day, and then the end of the day, like the rain will come. So that's fun. But then you hit the winter. The winter's nice. The winter's like 80s, 90s. At night it's like 70 or 60, and there's no rain. It's dry as a bone. So I really like the winter. As for safety, I think a lot of people think it's so dangerous in the Philippines. I never felt threatened. There would be like guys, we got followed a couple times, but it's like nobody pulled a knife on us or anything because they're all like 5'2" and I'm 5'10". So I was never scared of anyone. They put me with little tiny companions, but like we would hear about murderers or whatever in a certain barangay, which a barangay is like kind of like a neighborhood sort of thing. But I never felt threatened. We'd go in at 8. Everyone goes to bed at like 7. 6, 7 is when everybody starts closing up shop. So we would actually eat not during the day, but after. We'd eat our dinner after the day. But we got followed one time. We were like on a dirt road and I was on exchanges with a sister, and there was a guy on his motorcycle and we're on this little dirt path in the middle of nowhere, so it's not exactly very safe. But we're just like walking down and the sister's like, this guy's following us. And I'm like, no, I think we're good, sister. We're gonna be all right. 5 minutes later, he's still like trailing behind, like 30 feet behind on his motorcycle. And she's like, sister, I'm gonna start running. I was like, no, we don't run. So I turned around and I was like, what do you want? And I was like, can I help you? I think I was nicer at first. I was like, hey, how are you? And he just pulled out his phone and he acts like he has somebody to talk to. And I was like, okay, yeah, right. He was so flustered. And then I asked him again, I was like, what do you need? And he just took off on his motorcycle. But it was no big deal. Like, they're all little tiny little Filipino men. Like, it was a rare thing if I found someone taller than me. So I don't know. I never felt threatened. They're all so kind. People are just like, you're walking down the street and they say, gabi na, sisters, which means like, it's night now. Basically, go home. It's not safe. But I never had any problems, so. When I first got to the Philippines, we call it the palace, was our apartment. They had 4 sisters in the top, 4 in the bottom, a senior couple, and then like a random couple up here with a really mean dog. But our apartment was so nice. It was probably like 3 or 4 times the size of this room, but it was so nice. It had like sinks and it had an oven. We never use the oven. We don't have like money to pay for like the energy for the oven, and it even had a shower. It was so nice. And then we went to my second area and the APs drove us out to Dingaras, which was like my favorite area. And they drop us off and we were whitewashing an area, which means they pull out all the previous elders or sisters, whoever, and they put in all new ones. So we're whitewashing this area and we like opened the door to the apartment and we're like, well, this is kind of small. And this apartment was probably only like 2 of these rooms. It was so tiny. And it had a fridge and we walked in and there's like a dead cockroach on the floor and we're like, oh. And we go and look at the stove and they just had like a Bunsen burner thing. And there's this moldy pot. The elders did a great job taking care of this apartment. There's a moldy pot of rice on the stove, and rice just smells terrible after 2 days. And we opened up the fridge and they've got like a half-eaten cake and pineapple and there's mothballs all over the floor. And they don't have anywhere to put your food, so you just like stack it on the table. And we went in the room and there's like spiders and cockroaches would get in there. But it was fine. I was like very ungrateful. I'm telling you, I was ungrateful. And then we just came to love this apartment. My companion would always say like, she's like, it's great. We don't have to clean as much on P days. So it was good. I loved it being small. We went back to a big apartment and I missed our small little Dingaras apartment. We had a lot of fun. We just blast our church music on our speakers and stuff, but it was good. And then for transportation, we would usually take tricycles if it's like close, which is just the motorcycle and the sidecar. And sometimes you would just, if the sidecar was full and there was someone already in there, you just pack onto the back. So you have this tricycle that has like 4 people crammed in this area meant for like 2 normal sized people. And then on the back you have the driver and maybe his child on the front, and then another 2 or 3 people on the back of the tri-C. And so that was fun. Honestly, it was fun. You're just like holding on for your life, hoping you don't fall off and die. But I love tri-Cs, especially sitting on the back. Like, life couldn't get any better than sitting on the back of a tri-C. I love tri-C rides. There's nothing funner. And then we would ride jeepneys to anywhere that was like over 15, 20 minutes away. You could take a tri-C, but it's way expensive. Which a jeepney is like, it's like this giant silver kind of car, like a bus. It's like an SUV almost. And it has just like benches on this side and a bench on this side, and they cram you in like sardines. And like a lot of the time people would be scared to talk on those, but me and my companions would always try to talk on the jeepneys to everyone that was really quiet. And then they also have buses, which their buses don't have air conditioning. Typically, some do, but those are expensive. They just ride to and from a city, and we could get it free on like Thursday nights. So you just like hop on, and then you just walk up to the front, and like when you're done, you just say, hey, I want to stop here, and they stop and you get off, and it's fine. To get off of a jeepney, you have to get your coins because you have like your pamasahe or your money for fare. And you like rap, because they have this bar overhead, and you like rap on the bar, and it's like ding, 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 and then they stop. And that's how we would get around. It was fun.